How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? My name is Rowlet, and today, guys, we've got ourselves some more Pokemon rumors and things along those lines that I want to talk about. So if you guys are ready, then sit back, relax, grab yourself a beverage, and we're going to be getting right into it. So we have a bunch of different things that have been sent my way, a bunch of rumors and stuff that need to be covered, or, well, that people want me to cover. So I thought we'd take a look at them and see what everything here has to offer. One of the first things we have is actually a post over here on 4chan. This was posted a while back, actually, so it's been a while since this one came out. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's been a decent amount of time since this one originally came out. But nonetheless, though, it is still a rumor, and I think it's just, you know, reasonable enough that we should be covering it, because it doesn't go that crazy in some of the information. It doesn't seem like it doesn't seem necessarily that, like, out of the realm of possibility. Let's put it like that. But I thought we'd still cover it, see what it has to say, that kind of stuff, see where we can take it, and we'll go from there. Also, I want to mention that there is a cool theory from George, one of our viewers, which I'll mention in a second as well. Starting things off, though, this post has to say the following. Scarlet DLC by Anonymous, posted on the 21st of this, or sorry, the 21st of this month. So about 5 days ago, saying Scarlet DLC, the Magenta Monster, will be announced in August Pokemon Presents. So, first of all, this is suggesting that we're actually going to get another Pokemon Presents. This is suggesting, we're going to get another Pokemon DLC for Scarlet and Violet. No. I don't think that's going to happen. I really doubt that's actually going to happen. The reason why, it just doesn't make any sense. We already had the DLC. We're done with Scarlet and Violet. It's time to move on to the next thing. Like, that's naturally what the case is now. So it just doesn't make any sense for them to be doing this. Like, this seems so out of the realm of what they would do for a Pokemon game, right? Like, it doesn't make any sense, okay? The DLC is out for Scarlet and Violet already. That was what we got with the, what do you call it? The Hidden Treasure of Area Zero with the Indigo Disc and the, Teal Mask, right? Like, we already had that. That's already done. It's time to, like, move on to the next thing. This makes not really a lot of sense, if I'm going to be real with you. It feels really just out there. But let's see what they actually say about it, though. This third DLC pack will be $3.99, which also doesn't seem realistic, and will have about 3 hours of gameplay. It also introduced a perp ape into the game, so a purple ape, which I guess is reference to that gorilla right there. Because if you guys do not know this artwork over here, this artwork is actually a real artwork. It's in the games of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. It's an actual artwork in there, and it shows a bunch of drawings of different Pokemon. The only Pokemon that isn't recognizable, besides, Flamigo and, Palmot or whatever, the only one that isn't recognizable is the giant-looking gorilla Pokemon that we do not know anything about. We don't know who it is, what the point of it is, none of that. We have zero information on that gorilla Pokemon. So, that is an actual real image. But we all assumed that was going to be for another possible DLC. But since we don't have a new DLC coming out, then what really is it, right? He says apparently, though, that Perp Ape is poison and fighting type of a Pokemon with very high speed and physical attack stats. So, a fast physical attacker then. The ability Iron Fist, and basically looks like a purple gorilla. Think slacking but standing up and purple instead of brown. Okay, best way I can describe it. Fair enough. I mean, I'm gonna be real. We've had so many monkey-type Pokemon recently. You have the elemental monkeys, you have Chimchar, you have Grookey, you have, there's a lot of different, like, monkey Pokemon. Even for Mythicals, we had, what do you call them, like, Zarude, right? Zarude is also another one. So we've had a lot of those, which I feel like they should use a different animal at this point. Like, there's enough animals out there. A kangaroo, for crying out loud. Like, we only have really Kangaskhan that's the closest to that. So, like, I feel like we should have, like, something different. A different animal, a different creature, a different monster, anything, really. But fair enough. Either way, moving on, though, they say that apparently, okay, according to this, it's going to be a purple one. And then they say the story basically goes along the lines that a new part of Area Zero has been discovered with a lot of energy being emitted from it. Okay, fair enough. Your task, along with Nimona, Kieran, and Carmen, is to go and investigate it. Level 80 plus wild Pokemon will be battling you, and a new evil team that is linked with Legends ZA will also be trying to capture it. Okay, so it'd be cool if they did make a connection, because if you guys remember, the way that, like, Legends Arceus and BDSP kind of worked is that BDSP kind of existed before it. It came out before it, and it was a nice lead-up leading into Legends, Arceus. It would be nice if we did have a DLC, an extra thing for Scarlet and Violet to fully finish those games off, even though I think they're kind of already done with the whole, like, free DLC we got. Like, I say free DLC, but the whole, like, Pecharunt event, like, that event is basically the conclusion of that game, right? Like, that event is the conclusion of that game. That's the finito, bonito, we're done with Scarlet and Violet. So I doubt that this would be real. But let's move on to the rest of it, though. They say that apparently here will be the ZA will be trying to capture it. The evil team in Legends ZA will also be the ancestors of this team. So they will be connected, which would be nice. You basically have to battle a ton of them, and then you capture the new mythical at the end. That actually sounds like a reasonable way to do a DLC. They are mainly releasing this so they have some sort of income during the Christmas period, as there is no game release this year. I mean, I wish this was true. The weird part would be, why wouldn't they have announced this at Pokemon Day? Like, why announce it so close to release, right? If it's releasing in winter time, why announce it so late if this is a real, post? But, it is what it is. He says, I'm part of the team working on this DLC, so I don't really have a lot to say about Pokemon Legends ZA, except that it will also be shown in the Pokemon Presents, revealing the starters and gameplay footage of the actual game. Now, it's weird. How would you know this if you're somebody working on this DLC? And also, the way you're talking about the DLC here is not like something you're a part of, but something you're looking at from a third-person perspective. So that's kind of what gives this one away as being most likely fake. But hey, we can always wait and see. Do you guys actually think a third DLC would happen? I highly doubt it, because keep in mind, we basically already are finished with the DLC for the time being. Like, the DLC is basically already done. We already had the conclusion. That was the Pecharunt event. That was a whole, like, berry event was supposed to end everything. And that was the conclusion to the story, to everything. That was the whole point of it. So it doesn't make any sense to have, like, more. Like, it just doesn't make sense. As much as I'd love more, I'd love to have more, DLC and stuff to add more content to Scarlet and Violet, but I really doubt it. That's the issue. I really doubt that it's real. And that's pretty much what I'm going to say about that rumor. Moving on, though, we do have a second rumor, though. And this one is a bit more interesting. This one is actually about Legends ZA and has a little bit more stuff to say. So, it starts us off as following. It says, news about Pokémon Legends ZA. And this was posted on the 14th, so it was way earlier this month, saying, I don't know when the trailer will drop, but our deadline for adaptation is June 17th. So apparently he's saying, I guess the way he's saying it here is that this person who's making this post is involved in making the trailers, which is not that crazy to believe. We've had leakers before that were actually involved in the production of the trailers, which are not always the same people that are making the game. Those will just be people that are hired a separate company to do promotional work, right? Anything promotional, anything like that, handled by a different company. It's not that crazy. But he's saying, though, that apparently the deadline for adaptation, aka for them to make it, is June 17th. But he doesn't know when the trailer would actually drop, which is fair enough. The trailer is over 5 minutes long. If true, that would be sick. A 5-minute long trailer to just show us off stuff for Legends ZA would be awesome. Again, I'm telling you, I personally still think the trailer we're going to get is going to still be in August. Like, we're still going to have to wait until then. We still got, at least like another 2 months almost. A month and a half to be more fair. But almost 2 months until we're actually going to get some updates and probably our first gameplay of this game. I doubt we're going to get anything in July. I think most likely it's going to be in August. Like, August is when we have the World Championship for Pokemon, so it makes most sense to have it around that time period. Either way, though, continuing, says, it starts with a cinematic view of current Lumio City and a rewind effect that brings it back to how it looked at the beginning of the ZA plot. Okay, so that's an interesting way of looking at it. The city is more like a town surrounded by trees, grass, and short walls. I'm gonna be real. So far, this section does sound pretty realistic. Like, this sounds actually pretty, like kind of, I can imagine in my head. Like, I don't know if you guys have that with stuff, but I can kind of, like, see what, I can read this, and I can imagine in my mind sort of what this would look like. Like, I can kind of see an image of this in my mind. So, let's move on. So, the city is more like a town surrounded by trees, grass, and short walls. But the Prism Tower is already built, and it's the, it's the players look similar to Caleb and Serena. Wait, he kind of switched, like, he just, like, switched up real quick there. He went from one thing to the next thing very quickly. Like, I didn't even get enough context out of that. Like, wait a minute. So, he says that the Prism Tower is already built, and it's the operational base of Prism Company. So that's what he's saying that they will be called. Prism Company. That's literally what he thinks they're going to be called. So Prism Company is what he thinks, what he says is that the company is going to be called the Evil Team, or whatever you want to call them, which we work for to turn Lumio's town into a modern city. So it's going to be called Lumio's Town instead of Lumio's City. Fair enough. He says that players look similar to Caleb and Serena. Okay, fair enough. That's, again, not that crazy to assume they're going to be looking similar to the original characters. Like, it just follows the regular plot line of a Pokemon game, okay? And it's the same thing they did in Legends Arceus as well. Either way, moving on. They said the head of Prism Company is a woman and Larry's ancestor, but her personality seems very different. Okay, not that crazy. Another character is shown briefly in the same building. Looks like Lysander, but younger. Okay, so, interesting. Basically, looks like Lysander, but younger, and I don't know. The head of, okay, so basically the head of this, it would be Larry's ancestor, but her personality seems a bit very different. Another character is shown briefly in the same building, which looks like Lysander, but younger. Does that mean that the Lysander ancestor is also going to be evil or something? Who knows? The starters are Snivy, Scorbunny, and Piplup. Again, those make sense. Those are the ones that we saw already kind of hinted at in the trailer for the Indigo Disc DLC, so fair enough. I'm not sure whose ancestor the professor is meant to be. Maybe Diantha. Okay, maybe, I mean, if it is Diantha that it's based on, then fair enough. I mean, I don't know what else they could base it off of, but either way. It then shows the player walking around the town and talking with people. Then Piplup, Snivy, and Scorbunny walking around on their own and talking/fighting with other Pokemon, kind of like a Mystery Dungeon. Basically, the player can switch place with a Pokemon and play as them. It's hinted in the trailer that this is a special skill of the player and you don't need an item to do it. So basically saying that similar to how Mystery Dungeon has the ability for you to walk around as your Pokemon, we're going to have the Synchro Machine, right? The same thing. This is the feature from Indigo Disc, which is a highlight feature in my opinion. That's going to be returning in some way, shape, and or form. But in this case, he seems to be saying that like basically the player can switch place with Pokemon and play as them. But how many though? Because you can walk around town and talk with people, and then Piplup, Snivy will be walking around on their own and talking/fighting with other Pokemon, kind of like a Mystery Dungeon. Again, that would be sick. Honestly, that would be so cool. It's hinted in the trailer that it is a special skill of the players, so you don't need an item to do it. Fair. Again, I would love this. I'd love it this was true. Normal Pokemon battles are also shown, and you get materials as rewards, which are needed to develop Lumio City and complete quests. Ooh, very spicy. Also, Pokemon Ami, oh my god. Okay, Pokemon Ami is back and is a hybrid with the Scarlet and Violet picnics, where you can decorate Pokepuffs and pet your Pokemon again, like on the 3DS. That would be great. I'd love for that to return. That's not a bad feature. Okay, it's a decent feature. I would not mind it. However, they move on saying that you meet Sycamore's ancestor in the underground of Lumios, which looks like a big maze-like cave full of glowing gems. Very aesthetically pleasing. Okay, well, what's the deal with Sycamore then? He's sort of a explorer/miner, and he has a chandelier that is shown to Mega Evolve. aka Mega Chandelier. Looks like a vintage fancy French chandelier with a lot of glass drops beneath that glow up with blue fire. Okay, sounds a little bit fanfiction-y, but I mean, I guess it could be real. Then he continues and says that clips of some old megas are shown rapidly. They look like boss fights, but I'm not sure if they're just like normal alphas in Arceus or not. So, again, I do think Mega Evolutions will be the alpha Pokemon of this game for sure. Like, I highly doubt that's not going to be the case. I do think that's definitely going to be the case here. Then clips of some old Megas are shown rapidly. They look like boss fights, but I'm not sure if they're actually that or alphas. The trailer ends with the player enjoying his time with Pokemon while being observed from afar, and then it fades to black, and then to a blurry close-up of a dark green creature, but it's too close to understand what it looks like. Most likely Zygarde. The game cover has Pokemon and characters chilling in Lumio City with a portion of underground also shown underneath, all dark with glowing pink crystals, hexagons, and grassy roots peeking from the bottom. Release date is February 28th of 2025. I would love it if that was a release date. I actually really doubt it. It will be. I think it's going to be later in the year, actually. But honestly, that would be fantastic. Like, straight up, actually fantastic. I would love it if that was the case. But again, we are talking about Pokemon here, and they haven't given us any indication that it's going to be early in the year. They just said 2025. Very blanket statement, and that's it. But I do hope we're going to actually get it early in the year. However, though, we do have, like a final thing I'm going to talk about in this video. Like, one final thing before we end off this video, and that's going to be this right here. So this is a post by the Pokemon group, and they actually managed to, I think, data mine some information here from Pokemon Go of a station, because yes, it looks like this place might be related, and I'm guessing here that this might be related to Dynamaxing coming to Pokemon Go. At least that's what this looks like to me, and this is, again, you know, just a weird little, like, thing that they were able to find. I'm gonna guess it's gonna be for the Gigantamaxing and Dynamaxing feature, and that's gonna be part now of Pokemon Go 2. And the fact that Gigantamaxing and Dynamaxing is only coming to Go now, means that you're probably gonna wait a few more years, probably Generation 10, before, you know, anything else comes there, like Z-moves or anything like that, I guess. I don't even know. Are Z-moves ever even going to show up in there? I don't even think so. But Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing is coming, ladies and gentlemen. And maybe this is why we have those big and small Pokemon features. Maybe that will actually affect which Pokemon can Dynamax and can't Dynamax, or can Dynamax, you know, larger or smaller. Nonetheless, though, it's going to be interesting to see how this all pans out once it actually, you know, comes into fruition. However, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be pretty much it for today's video, guys. I want to know what you guys think about this post right here. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think a third DLC is possible? Also, do you guys think that we're going to actually get a trailer in August now? And finally, what do you guys think about the Pokemon Go update? Either way, that's going to be it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.